Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Triple H was unhappy with Tiffany Stratton, Netflix's WWE Unreal docuseries has revealed. The docuseries, which released on July 29th, is giving fans an insight into WWE's creative process, as well as snippets from backstage leading up to WrestleMania. 41's biggest premium live event of the year saw Tiffany Stratton defend her women's championship against Charlotte Flair, while the buff Barbie emerged victorious. The feud gained attention for an infamous promo segment between the two stars on the April 4th episode of SmackDown in the build-up, as things got heated between the two. Stratton said Charlotte was 0-3 at marriages, a reference to the Queen getting divorced 3 times. This didn't sit well with Charlotte, and backstage, the feeling was that Stratton went too far. In Episode 5 of WWE Unreal, titled WrestleMania, Triple H is seen in gorilla position with Bruce Pritchard and others while they are discussing the promo. After it was brought to the game's attention that Charlotte was upset with the divorce reference, he conveyed that Stratton needed to apologize to her. "So, I need Tiffany to understand that's obviously not how we do this. So she needs to go to Charlotte and apologize, and they need to get on the same page," HHH said. From 1 o'clock to 1:10, while it is unclear when Tiffany ended up apologizing to Charlotte, the two stars seem to have worked out their differences and put on a solid match at WrestleMania 41. The build-up to their match was filled with heated promos, but that segment on SmackDown crossed a line that Triple H didn't approve of. Tiffany Stratton's promo with Charlotte Flair garnered a lot of attention, and Ric Flair recently addressed what he thought of it, speaking on the Ariel Helwani show. The Nature Boy didn't mince any words while referring to Stratton's comments on his daughter's personal life. "I'm embarrassed for her. I'm not going to say any more because I don't want it to affect anything, but that was the cheapest shot I've ever heard in my life." Well, whatever it was hurtful. If it was a shoot, that's even worse, because that's nothing to joke about. He said, Stratton is set to defend her title against Jade Cargill at SummerSlam this weekend. In recent months, WWE's women's division has been buzzing with rising stars, new opportunities, and a focus on creating the next generation of superstars who can carry the company into the future. Among those names, Tiffany Stratton has stood out as one of the fastest-rising female wrestlers on the roster. With her undeniable charisma, athletic ability, and natural star presence, she was quickly labeled as the future of WWE by fans and analysts alike. However, behind the scenes, it appears that not everyone has been thrilled with her journey to the top. Reports have surfaced that WWE's Chief Content Officer, Triple H, has been legitimately unhappy with Tiffany Stratton in certain situations, and that discontent has created an interesting story that fans may not have expected. Tiffany Stratton's rise in WWE. Tiffany Stratton first made waves during her time in NXT with her buff Barbie persona, luxury lifestyle presentation, and excellent athleticism from her gymnastics background. She brought something different to WWE's women's division. While many fans initially dismissed her as just another character with a gimmick, her in-ring performances soon silenced critics. Stratton worked her way into higher-profile matches, eventually winning the NXT Women's Championship and putting on strong performances against established talents like Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. WWE officials saw her as a main roster-ready talent, and by the time she transitioned to Raw and SmackDown, the company positioned her as someone to keep an eye on. However, as often happens in WWE, backstage expectations and real-world circumstances sometimes collide, where the frustration began according to insiders. Triple H's unhappiness with Tiffany Stratton stems not from a lack of talent or marketability, but from other issues that have cropped up during her run. For one, There have been reports of Tiffany showing signs of overconfidence backstage. While confidence is crucial in the wrestling business, some veterans and officials have allegedly noticed that she occasionally comes across as dismissive of feedback. Triple H, who is heavily invested in mentoring and developing talent, reportedly takes this very seriously. As someone who values respect for the craft and respect for the veterans who built WWE, he has made it clear that humility and growth are just as important as athleticism and star power. When Tiffany allegedly brushed off advice from a senior producer or failed to fully apply constructive criticism, it reportedly rubbed Triple H the wrong way. The clash between veteran expectations and rising stars. Triple himself knows the path of a young talent rising too fast. During his own career in the 1990s, he was once accused of being too polished and too eager to climb the ladder, which earned him both admiration and resentment backstage. Having lived through that experience, he understands the fine line between ambition and arrogance. With Tiffany Stratton, Triple H reportedly sees someone who has all the tools to be a generational star, but might risk alienating herself if she doesn't align her backstage attitude with the culture of respect that WWE tries to maintain. His frustration is less about discipline and more about wanting to make sure she doesn't derail her own career. The match that sparked more backstage discussion. A particular flashpoint reportedly came after a televised match earlier this year. Tiffany was said to have gone off script at certain moments, improvising in ways that weren't discussed with her opponent or producers beforehand. While the match looked good to the fans watching at home, WWE officials backstage were not pleased. In WWE's highly coordinated structure, deviating from the planned layout can not only frustrate management, but also potentially endanger other performers. Triple H was reportedly firm with her afterward, making it clear that while creativity is welcome, structure and teamwork are non-negotiable in WWE. This led to whispers that the game was losing patience with her attitude, even as he continued to recognize her immense upside. Comparing Tiffany Stratton to past WWE stars, it's worth noting that Tiffany's situation is not unique. Many of WWE's biggest names had rocky beginnings with management. John Cena was close to being released early in his career before his Doctor of Thugonomics character saved him. Randy Orton famously struggled with immaturity and disciplinary issues before eventually becoming one of WWE's most reliable veterans. Even Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair had moments where management questioned their attitudes or approaches before they solidified themselves as all-time greats. Triple H reportedly sees Tiffany Stratton in that same mold. A can't-miss talent, who just needs to smooth out the edges before she can be fully trusted as a main event star. His unhappiness, then, might be more about frustration at seeing such a gifted performer making avoidable mistakes rather than any desire to hold her back. The locker room reaction within the WWE locker room. Reactions to the Tiffany Stratton situation have been mixed. Some veterans are said to be sympathetic to her, noting that the pressure on young talents is enormous and mistakes are inevitable. Others, however, believe that her confidence sometimes crosses the line and that she needs to be humbled a bit before she can truly earn respect. WWE's women's division is stacked with talent. From Becky Lynch and Bayley to Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, each of them had to endure years of proving themselves to both fans and management. Stratton's meteoric rise, while impressive, has perhaps created unrealistic expectations and intensified the scrutiny she faces. Backstage, what this means for Tiffany Stratton's future, despite the reports of Triple H being unhappy with Tiffany. It's important to emphasize that her future in WWE is still incredibly bright. WWE has invested a lot of time and effort into building her brand, and she continues to generate fan interest with every appearance. A few backstage missteps are unlikely to derail her career, but they could serve as valuable learning experiences. Triple H has always been someone who, while stern, ultimately wants his talent to succeed. If Stratton listens, adjusts, and continues to develop, she could easily become the face of WWE's women's division for the next decade. However, if she allows pride or resistance to criticism to take over, she may find her momentum stalling. This situation also highlights a broader theme in WWE: the constant tension between tradition and innovation. WWE thrives on creating larger-than-life personalities, but it also demands that those personalities fit within the structure of its finely tuned system. Tiffany Stratton represents the new wave of WWE talent, young, bold, and social media savvy. Triple H represents the veteran mindset of discipline, respect, and legacy. The two forces clashing is almost inevitable, but if balanced properly, it could create the kind of dynamic that propels WWE to new heights. Triple H being legitimately unhappy with Tiffany Stratton should not be seen as a sign of doom for her career. In fact, it may be one of the best things that could happen for her long-term development. Many of WWE's most successful superstars have faced similar moments of tension with management, only to emerge stronger, wiser, and more respected. For Tiffany, the message is clear. She has all the tools to be great. But greatness requires more than talent. It requires humility, respect, and the willingness to learn from those who came before her. If she can embrace that, she will not only earn back Triple H's full support, but also secure her place as one of WWE's defining stars of the future.